to the truth, no matter how painful it might be, and no BS. Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith.
Here's a man who would not take it anymore. A man who stood up against the scum, the dogs, the filth. Here is someone who stood up.
It's time for Citizen Smith.
Good morning. How are you? Monday, August 16th here at TalkCast PDX. Feeling a little rough around the edges today. A little overwhelmed by life. Man, there's so much shit going on. I don't know where to begin. How articulate can I be? We got the Taliban taking over Kabul capital. We've got the coronavirus spreading like wildfire. We've got wildfires. And then the census came out with all its numbers. I'm trying to cover all this stuff today, but I don't know if I'll get to it all. All sorts of things happening now with this COVID outbreak. Even down to where businesses are starting to suffer again. Distribution is a problem for getting food, items for your restaurants. I was in downtown over the weekend. I went into an ice cream shop. They didn't have ice cream. They just had ice cream sandwiches. I went to the Jake's Famous Crawfish. They didn't have a crawfish. Can't get it. And he said they don't really have the staff to cook it. All this because of COVID. I said, when are you going to get the crawfish? Next year, maybe? Season's over now, pretty much.
Next year?
Yeah.
Don't they have farms?
I don't know, man. He said they get it from Louisiana and they ain't getting any until next year and they don't have staff that can really cook it. I guess that was the excuse. I don't know what's going on. Distribution problems. They can't get stuff. I guess that's what's going on. I think they should change the sign. Jake's Famous Crawfish should be, World Famous Crawfish should be changed to, we'll see you next year, World Famous Crawfish.
Jake's, we might have crawfish.
Jake's, we can make you a good old fashioned, but we won't have any crawfish today. I was a little disappointed, to say the least. It's like, oh, that sounds a good thing, yeah. And how about the ice cream shop? Where's your ice cream? We don't have any. Isn't it time to close your doors at that point? Take the sign down or something.
We got a little bit of rum raisin right over here.
And then there was this other couple outside. They were about to go in. They were like, what? They don't have any ice cream? I'm like, no. But the guy, he points to the sign and says, it's ice cream. Sorry. She had like 3 little ice cream sandwiches that they pre-frozen, that you could buy. I said, well, hell, I can go to the grocery store and get that. I'll go buy Ben & Jerry's and get my own ice cream, I guess. Anyway, these are things that are happening now with the COVID variant flowing around. Kate Brown has called on 1,500 National Guardsmen to get involved, helping out with supplies and this and that. I don't know how much they can really help out for people who need ICUs. They're not full yet, but they're getting there. And you know what the problem is? A lot of people from other counties are coming to Portland for their care. They don't have intensive care units that can handle the numbers that are being reported and have to check in. Well, it's going to peak, they say, right? They say when it peaks, maybe September, then it starts going down again. A, people start getting vaccinated that have been reluctant. B, all the people that were going to get it, now that we have mask mandates going on and such, lowers the transmission rate in due time. I'm looking at the case rates per 100,000 by county in Oregon. All the counties in the rural areas of the state, no surprise, are having the highest count per 100,000 population base. Also, the ones that people are reluctant to get I shouldn't say reluctant, refuse to get the vaccine. Wheeler County is the highest, 555 cases per 100,000. Umatilla second, 509. Then Josephine, Douglas, Baker. All these are the ones at the top where they're springing to the right with their data numbers. Then you get into the 200s down in Union and Wasco and Coos, 265 per 100,000. Polk, Deschutes, 182 per. So if you look at these graphs on the Oregon Health Authority, there it is. You can see it right here. All the orange means those counties are the ones that are not doing well. All rural counties in Oregon. Then you get the blue, where they're doing well because there's more vaccination. That's the urban areas, the Democratic areas. Multnomah County leads the way. We're doing really well in this county. I understand we got a mandate, but we're not doing anything wrong. The biggest county in the state, the biggest city, Multnomah, 93 per 100,000 cases. That's nothing. By the way, that's how many homeless people in the city of Portland? Thousands. Somebody said 10,000. I don't know where they got that numbers. At least 10,000? That seems like a large number, but maybe that's where it's at. How many of the homeless are in hospitals with COVID? I don't know if they designate them as such when they come in and they try to figure out who is what age, right? Where you're from. Are you homeless? Is that question asked? What if there is a situation which could be going on that this Delta variant has infiltrated the homeless camps and is spreading through all these homeless camps, and then they are ending up in the ICUs, taking up, that's where the increase is coming too, from the local population. Not the vaccinated people, not people living in apartments in their homes, but homeless people. There has got to be Delta variant spreading through the homeless camps, I would think. If it's that contagious, why wouldn't it make it through there? But I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anybody say, you know what, we've been getting a real strong influx of homeless people coming in with the Delta variant. I mean, there's thousands out there that could have it. I see some lying on the sidewalks. They look like they're dead. I don't know what to do. I don't want to go near them. I don't know what they've got. They have the Delta variant. I don't want to subject myself. It's not my job. It happens every sidewalk you see it. Are they sick with the variant? Something to be asked. I'd like it to be pried into more by the health officials, and the public should know if this is a concern. But Multnomah County, like I said, we're doing well here. I mean, we've done everything possible to be responsible. 77%. It should be, you might as well just say 80% fully vaccinated in Multnomah County. So, I mean, we're like at 80% fully vaccinated, 18 years and older. And that's about as good as you can ask for in this country right now for a city of this size. We've been very responsible here. Everybody's mask mandating. Nobody's putting up a stink about it. I went out to Powell Bookstore. Great bookstore. First time I've been there in a while. I've only been there twice. This is my second time. And it's just a great bookstore. Everybody had masks on. Mine slipped down my nose a little. All right, I cheated a little. I just pushed it down a little so I could breathe because it was so humid in there.
You did a dick nose. That's what they call that.
A dick nose?
A dick nose.
I did a dick nose in Powell, and when I was waiting to look for a book, the woman who's helping me came over and said, "Oh, did you find your book?" I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Put your mask up, please."
Put your mask up.
I was like, man, I can't even breathe in this bookstore. It's so humid and stuffy. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was suffocating. Tried to cheat, couldn't get away with it.
Did you buy a book?
No, I
No
found the
books?
book I wanted to,
No books.
but it was hardcover. I didn't feel like lugging around the city. I was going to go back later and get it. Very organized bookstore, by the way. You can find anything in that bookstore. I picked out 2 books that just got reviewed. They had them. I said to the woman, "Oh, I'm surprised you haven't." She looked at me and she goes, "Why are you surprised? It's Powell." Like, and then I asked my second book, and she said, "Yeah, we got that." Oh, I'm surprised to see that. Just joke. Anyway, Great bookstore, really a privilege to go in there, and you can find anything.
It'd be funny for you to go in there with like a hidden camera
Yeah,
and ask for Trump's books. See what they say. I just want to see the look on their faces. You got Trump's books?
they're very stoical there. They're very serious. The people that help out the information, they are all business. They will maintain stern face and say, yes, we have the Trump book. It's in the red section in aisle SC 33.
It's in the garbage can in the back to the left.
Hey, let's all right. So the COVID, right? I just wanted to mention one other thing that's going on and guarantee it's coming here. San Francisco, New York City, requiring restaurants to check for vaccination status before you can eat there. Mandating it. Seattle, also restaurants doing it. Portland, you bet your ass we're next in line. If you want to go to a restaurant, you're going to have to prove vaccination status is full. You'll have to have your certificate ready before you are allowed into any restaurants to eat. Guarantee it is coming this soon to Portland. So far, I walked into a restaurant, no problem. I walked in with my mask, sat down, took the mask off, no issues. Watch when they start asking for A, proof of vaccination, B, don't forget to take put your mask on at all times. You might as well start, if they start asking me for my vaccination card, I'm just not going in. It's my person. I just feel like it's getting too intrusive. It's too unpleasant. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting and I'll just adapt like everything else as my life becomes less free. We just don't have as much freedom anymore due to the situation of extremism that's going on to prevent this COVID. But I hope Portland just maintains some sort of a semblance. First of all, like I said, Portland is fine. If 80% of us are fully vaccinated, why are you checking? 80% chance we're vaccinated. What are you worried about? The minority of 20%, which probably is kids or 12 plus somewhere, or what do we got to get to 100%, 90, 99% before we have to get rid of such stringent protocols to have some food? I don't think we should go there. I think, like I said, if we've been a responsible city with 80% fully vaccinated, 18 and older, there's no reason to be carding us to prove vaccination status because we've got the vast majority has done it. Don't worry about it. Leave us alone. And that's all I'll say about the COVID. The sooner this damn thing is over, it's just so depressing. I'm so tired of it. I have mask fatigue. I definitely am. Like, I put that thing on. I'm like, oh, it's like I saw a guy walking through the streets. He had a shield that looked like from outer space. It was like a silver and gold shield over his
like
face.
Freaking Daft Punk walking through the town.
I thought, man, that guy's really playing it up. I thought maybe that's a good way to go. Maybe everybody should just like wear these crazy masks and try to make some sort of fun out of it when the heat goes away. I might go buy myself a crazy mask, just to kind of a rebellion. I got to wear a mask. Might as well go all out of some crazy looking mask. Make it a little fun. Get a little crazy. Because I'm getting there. I'm starting to get. This is taking its toll on me. I'm really getting mask fatigue, tired of the restriction. It's just 2 years we're going on here. Oh, and what's the next variant down the road? This could go on for years.
Thank you, China.
All right. Let's talk about. I gotta talk about this Taliban situation. Jesus Christ, things are bad enough. Things are bad enough, right? Now we got the Vietnam of the new Vietnam taking place as they evacuate people like they did in Saigon in masses by thousands as the Taliban rolled into Kabul over the weekend. What a disastrous situation. Once Taliban take over, there's 300,000 Afghanistan troops and 75,000 estimated Taliban troop, and they defeated the 300,000 like that. Like they didn't even put up a fight. So much for the trained forces by America. So much for Western democracy in Afghanistan.
Well, they changed the rules of engagement usually. So, I mean, the Taliban doesn't fight like regular soldiers, and we're trying to fight like regular soldiers. You know, we're trying to fight like regular soldiers. This is stupid. Dress up like Taliban. Go after them. You know?
So it's too late now for all this. It's over. We are taking thousands out by helicopter from the airport as we speak. It's just mass pandemonium. One woman described it from in Afghanistan as it's Saigon on steroids.
Yeah, get the hell out of there.
20 years, trillions of dollars, billions to beef up the army in Afghanistan and provide them with weaponry, which, by the way, is going to fall into Taliban hands now.
And the question is, why?
We're talking Black Hawk helicopters. They're going to be flying around that we leave there. Some people are talking we should blow them all up.
Why were we even there to begin with?
Remember? 2001,
Yeah.
9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Who was in Afghanistan?
Guess.
Yeah. The bad guy.
Still, he's been gone for a while. We should have been gone a long time ago.
And the terrorists that were there that, launched the attacks. So we went in. And then, well, the problem is we went into Afghanistan. Osama bin Laden was our main target. We went into Afghanistan, the Taliban were harboring Al-Qaeda. We fought the Al-Qaeda. But while we were there winning the war, we got distracted when Bush went to Iraq.
Yeah, what do you know?
And now we're taking on two wars. And Iraq really, even though we got rid of a bad guy there, it distracted us from finishing the real job, which was to rebuild Afghanistan as a Western democracy and do so properly. We had chances to negotiate with the Taliban when they were weak and realized they weren't going to win. We screwed up a lot of we had a lot of missteps. The more and more I read about it, and you go back into the history of this 20-year war, it's really a mess. I mean, Barack Obama had 100,000 troops in there at once. That's when we could have started negotiating. Then Trump goes and reduces the number, released 5,000 Taliban prisoners, said we're going to pull out, didn't negotiate as strongly as we should have when we had the chance. It should have been a gradual reduction in troops and negotiations that should have been ongoing. So Biden took over what Trump left and stayed the course, and this massive withdrawal without any preparation. It went against all the Joint Chiefs of Staffs who said we shouldn't be doing this. We should at least spend the next year or two slowly dismantling our military while we renegotiate with the Taliban to make sure that it's an orderly transition. And that was exactly not what we did. I'm no damn expert on Afghanistan, but you don't have to read too much to realize how we screwed this one up. And this is going to be a legacy that's going to be a lasting one for Biden because it was his first major decision as the commander-in-chief, and he failed. This is a miserable failure of American policy and military strategy.
It's been failing for years.
I was all for it like most Americans, and most Americans weren't paying attention to what's going on in Afghanistan after 20 years. We have very little attention paid to it. But I was always like, 20 years is enough for any country to be involved with another country's rebuilding. But, I'm not the expert in line. I'm not the defense secretary. I'm not the secretary of state. It wasn't my job to negotiate. That's why we hired these people in government to take care of these problems properly. And they didn't do it. And Blinken, Secretary of State's trying to paint a rosy picture here. Where is this quote he said? I couldn't believe it. Something to the effect of, this is about his... I can't find it now. Where the hell is it? Anyway, he's trying to say that, this administration inherited it and that we didn't have much to work with, that Biden took the office in January. The U.S. had 2,500 troops in Afghanistan. It's lowest since 2001, so the withdrawal was, quick and necessary. We also killed the leader of the Taliban in 2016 under Trump, Mullah Akhtar Mansour in Pakistan. He was a businessman and was seen among senior Taliban as a pragmatist with a genuine interest in peace talks. We killed him. big mistake to kill him, said one of the leaders in this guy, Ms. Dom. Where is her title there now? I'm overwhelmed myself with information here now. I'm losing track. Anyway, I didn't realize about that guy though. Mansour. He had given the sign that he was interested in talks, and then, misstep. We killed the wrong guy. It was a guy that was ready to talk peace, and we got rid of him. So whose decision was that? What the hell were we thinking, and why did we make that mistake? Betty Dam, an authority on the Taliban, said this quote. It was a big mistake to kill him. It was very clear the Mansour had given the sign that he was interested in talks. So I don't know. One thing after another led to our debacle in Afghanistan. Now what's going to happen? Girls are going to be taken out of school. Women are going to be prosecuted and abused.
Maybe we can get the rest of the world on board.
Like China, they're the ones that are going in now. They want to fill our void. What's that going to be like? People are going to go in there and take, now that we're not there, all these other outside interests are going to start getting involved and creating a problem for us and making that. It's going to be interesting the next year. What the hell happens there? Will the Taliban surprise everybody and be a responsible leadership, or are they going to go the opposite route like we expect? And a lot of people say, it's just going to be a catastrophe. And once again, terrorists will be harbored there, whose only interests are to harm America. Or will we be surprised and none of that happens, and somehow the Taliban doesn't have abuses and hope women aren't going to get their rights back. They're going to take those girls out of school. They are not going to allow. They're going to go back to this extreme Islamic rule that they had before. You can bet your life on that one. Let's be real. All right, so the collapse of Afghanistan. Hurdles for the United States and its allies now. There they are, the Taliban in the capital, the palace, the historic palace. That's them, already in the capital, taking control of the final city and the capital itself.
Almost looks like when those yahoos stormed our capital.
They seem a little more organized.
Yeah.
I
don't see any baseball hats on or anything like that.
Anyway, that's the way it goes when you get into the wars, in these crazy wars that we try to take over countries and rebuild. America sucks at rebuilding countries. We did pretty good with Japan and Germany, but that was our only two success stories, really. All right, let's talk about the census real quickly here, because the census 2020 finally came out, which I've been waiting to see the numbers because I knew it would be interesting. And diversity in America has gotten much greater. Less white population documented in this census, more Hispanics and people of color, and interracial marriages. America has completely changed in the last 10 years from previous decades. The white majority is getting close to 50-50 now with people of color. And Oregon itself is quite interesting what's going on in this state. I thought the numbers were very intriguing. And they're still coming out, but Oregon, as this was reported on Oregon Live, past decade, Oregon residents picked at random would be from a different race and ethnic group was 46% in 2020, from 36% in 2010. Oregon leapfrogged Kansas and Michigan to become the 29th most diverse state in the United States. We're becoming a very diverse state, Oregon is. Oregonians who identify as multiracial has increased dramatically. Census data from the past decade show those who identified themselves as members of two or more races increased by 299,000, more than tripling over the last 10 years. That's a big change. It's time for our policymakers here in the state to understand that the state is almost like a 50-50, people of color, multiracial, and whites. I guess. I don't guess. This is the numbers. Asian Pacific American Network of Oregon said the more questions that allowed you to fill out saying you're multiracial. In the past census, you couldn't do that. It was more broad. You're white or you're, like Hispanic. Now you can say, well, I'm this and that, and I identify myself differently. I'm not just white. I also have this in me. I have other ethnicity going on in my body. And I mean, I consider myself a person of color. I'm Greek. I'm half Greek. Isn't that a person of color? My mother was so dark in high school, she would get called greaseball and picked on by the kids. And thus she became a fighter to fight back. Person of color. Back in the day, I don't know why Greeks aren't lumped in like the same as Latinos. We have just as much of color as anybody else. Look at me. I turn black when I tan. Am I not a person of color? Why am I lumped in with, like white Anglo-Saxons all the time? I'm a multiracial person. Greek, Irish, Scottish, and English. That's multiracial. So, Oregon's population grew by 10.6% in the last 10 years from 2010 to 2020, reaching 4,237,256. That's up from 3.83 million a decade ago. Not a great increase, but a marginal increase. It's good. Nice moderate growth. But the population of Hispanics is growing, and a large part because, we're an agricultural state. We get a lot of Latin American people coming up, Mexico, to work in the agriculture industry, and they stay. And that's a huge population that comes in to work these fields and these industries that, nobody else wants to do. So they come up from Mexico and they stay. Did you know in like Umatilla, for example, in Hermiston, where watermelons are very popular, they call it, their slogan is the sweet life. Welcome to Hermiston. Did you know that almost 50% of the population in Hermiston is Hispanic? Because of the migrants that stay and work there. I had no idea there was a city that was 50% Hispanic in Oregon.
I know a gentleman out in Banks. He's a migrant worker, and he's here half the year and then goes back to Mexico and then comes back and goes back.
But here's a situation where a lot stay, get their residency, and suddenly a part of the community. And that's a huge change and shift going on in this state. When you get to places like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the whites are still dominant in the percentage, like in Multnomah County. But I wanted to look more into the numbers about Multnomah County, but I haven't seen those yet. I thought I had them on me here. But I'll get into more of that as the census numbers come out. But as for America, the census shows a really great change going on in multiracial relationships and the growing diversity of the population of color. People of color represented 43% of the total U.S. population in 2020. So the white majority is down to 57%. That's up from 34% in 2010. So in 10 years ago, it was 34%. Now it's 43% people of color represented in the total U.S. population. They also attribute that because they had more boxes you could check saying you are of this different ethnic background. So the non-Hispanic white share of the U.S. population fell to 57%, shrinking by 6 percentage points since 2010. That's the largest decrease of any race or ethnicity. So the ones who identify as Hispanic or Latino or multiracial grew the most in this census. 19.5% say they are Hispanic or Latino, up from 17.3% 10 years ago. The black, 12.1% in 2010. In 2020, 11.9%. And Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islanders, 5.9%. And then they have some other numbers here, too, that brought it up to 43. So that's the largest population, though, is the Latino and Hispanics are starting to take positions of community leadership because their numbers are growing. They're having a much greater impact on voting. And they will have a greater impact on the overall multiracial makeup of this country. More people, interracial marriages going on because you have a larger percentage of people sharing lives together, and your neighbor is this ethnicity, and I'm this, and it's good. All right, so there you go. The 2020 census, a little bit of an overview there. And, oh yeah, I just wanted to mention this one. The Hispanic or Latino community now represents 39% of Californians, an increase from 37%. The non-Hispanic white population in California was 34%. That's a great, that's a minority. Non-Hispanic white population, 34% in California. One of the biggest changes. And, you could go to Florida. You'll see the same thing there. There you go. A little summary of today's census numbers. More is coming out as people pour over the data. This was an interesting one. Those who reported their race as both white and black accounted for 20.5%. Talk about an interracial marriage there and change. Americans who were both white and Native American, 26%. So we're becoming a real melting pot, like we should be. Diversity. It's time to readdress what America really is today. We've changed a lot in the last 10 years. The numbers don't lie. And that does it for today's show. I'm Citizen Smith. We covered a lot. My brain is drained. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We got some interviews coming up this week, very interesting ones. I'll promote those tomorrow and talk to you later. Have a great day.
I'm Dave Dahl, creator of Dave's Killer Bread, a well-known, against-the-odds success story. To give back, we built a podcast studio called TalkCast PDX, a state-of-the-art facility to produce your own podcast. TalkCast PDX is a place where every opinion is accepted. If you've ever thought about it, do it. Use your voice and make a difference at TalkCast PDX.